Hey, what is up, guys? It's Brewster Tizzy here, and I'm back on the Pirates franchise. In today's video, we're going to be doing a short but a very important video, as we're going to be going over the whole entire MLB draft and all the players and prospects we like. So I'll barely be doing any simming, as the MLB draft is in 2 days. So we're only going to see like 1 or 2 games be simulated in this video. Like I mentioned in the last video, the Pirates hold the number 7 overall pick in the draft. So we're going to be getting some pretty decent players, and with our first round pick especially, should be getting a franchise changing player. But anyways, here is the scouting portion of the video. I'll be showing off all the prospects, like all the blue chip prospects and stuff. Some of the prospects that aren't blue chips that I really like. Some of the prospects that intrigue me, some that are mysteries. I'm not going to go over every single blue chip prospect because there's quite a bit of them actually in this draft, which is quite a surprise. But I'm just going to be going over the main ones I feel that could be really good, or the ones that I'm really targeting. So to start off stuff, we're going to look at Otis Wood here. He's a starting pitcher. He's from Pennsylvania too, and as you can see, he looks pretty decent and overall just good in almost every stat. He has pretty high velocity too, so he'll have a strong arm, and he'll be ready almost by 2022, it says. So I'll be definitely targeting him if he falls to us. And I'm really targeting the players that are going to be ready sooner. So for like these players that are ready in 2024 or over, I'm really going to try avoid. I'm just going to try to get the players that are ready in 1 or 2 years, so we can try to use them quicker and stuff. Probably my favorite player in this whole entire draft is right fielder Darren Copeland from Florida. He's only 18 years old. He'll be ready in 2021, it says, according to this. And he has great power. He has very good speed here, and he also has a great arm. It's probably the player I'm targeting the most. He'll probably be gone by the 7th overall pick, but I'm really hoping he falls to us. Another player that I like a lot is Javier Alanes here. He's a catcher from Florida. He's 21 years old, but he'll be ready by next year, according to this. Once again, sometimes they're not all true, but mostly they'll be ready by what it says here in this column. And as you can see by his stats, he has great contact versus righties. He has decent power. He has a good arm behind the plate, and he has very good blocking. We definitely need a catcher as well, so I'm definitely looking to add him if he falls to us. Third baseman Danny Hoskins here is another player that I find pretty interesting. He has great power, he has good contact, he has a decent arm, not great for a third baseman, but still pretty good enough. He's just overall good at everything. The only problem is we already have Ke'Bryan Hayes at third base, so I'm not so sure if we need another third baseman. And next up here we have Vaughn Williamson. He's a starting pitcher from Washington. He's 18 years old. The only problem with him is he, as you can tell by his age, he's really young and he's very low overall, and he won't be ready for a long time. Here you can look at the rest of the blue chip prospects if you want. A lot of them are really low overall right now and won't be ready for a long time, so I'm just hoping that the certain ones that I'm targeting will be available when we pick. So looking at starting pitchers here, there were a ton of starting pitchers in this draft. As you can see, scrolling down this list, there was a ton of 80 overall potential pitchers to scout. I still haven't gotten to scout a lot of them. There's so many prospects to scout in this game, it's kind of hard to get around to every single player and stuff. So starting off with Francisco Arnez here, he's only 18 years old. He'll be ready by 2023 according to this. He's a 60 overall, and looking at stats, he has a good pitching repertoire, and he has good velocity, so I think he could definitely be decent. I just probably wouldn't select him in the first round, so maybe he'll be available in the 2nd or maybe 3rd round. But looking at some other starting pitchers, Jorge Moreno here, he's a 60 overall, 80 potential, has decent stats, but won't be ready until 2024. So Tristan Cantrell here really intrigued me. I haven't scouted him fully, but he's basically like scouted all the way. Just needs like 1 more day. But anyways, looking at stats, he has great velocity as well, has decent stats all around, and he's a 65 overall, and he'll be ready pretty soon by 2023, it says. So I definitely could end up drafting him in the 2nd or 3rd round. Looking at catchers, I didn't scout for catchers for anything. I usually don't scout catchers, even though I should. I don't know why I don't. It's just that, like, I never get around to. There's so many players and stuff to scout in this whole entire draft. Looking at first baseman, there weren't many first basemen that I scouted that turned out to be good, except Jeff Layton here. He has very good contact and doesn't have much power. He has very good fielding, doesn't have the greatest arm, and he can play in the right field. So if I ended up drafting him, maybe we could put him out in the outfield, but as you can see by his speed, he's very slow, so I'm not so sure if he could fit on our team that much. Even though he has very low potential, Randall McGowan is one of the players that I'm very intrigued by. As you can see by his power, he is one of the harder hitting players in this whole entire draft. And if you see that, like, there's players that I haven't scouted that have like 80 potential and stuff, or that are high overalls, like Ryan Farr here, it's because they don't have great stats to me, and I didn't value scouting them over some other players just because he has such a limited time to scout these players. At center field, there were some interesting prospects. Jim Tapia here, he has very, very good speed and great stealing and stuff, except his arm sucks and he barely has any hitting, so I doubt I would draft him unless if I'm in need of like a pinch runner or something. Mark Guillory here, I would have scouted him, but I just never got around to it. He has great speed, great fielding as well, has an amazing arm. He doesn't hit that well, but I mean, it's not that expected because he's a small, fast center fielder, but he definitely looks like he could be a very interesting prospect. Another right fielder that really intrigues me that I like a lot here is Dominique Vargas. He has great hitting, has 80 contact versus righties hypothetically, and he has a very good arm, and he's not fast though, that's the only problem with him. But he's ready in 2022, and he's only 19 years old, so I definitely could see myself drafting him in the second or third round if he's available. Alright, so enough talking about prospects and stuff, let's get to the actual draft. We lost our last game 1-4 against the Reds, and we'll see. We have Jameson Taillon versus Luis Castillo, so let's see if we actually win this game. And we win it 4-3, but it's time to go to the draft. Let's see who we can get. So as you can see, Tigers have the first overall pick. We have the 7th, so hopefully we still have one of the prospects we like by the time we draft. But let's get this started. Okay, so as we simmed here, Javier Alanes did go, but it looks like Darren Copeland, the right fielder, is still available. So you already know who I'm going to pick. Darren Copeland, who I previewed earlier, I really like a lot. And looking by his stats, if you just didn't watch the earlier portion of the video, he looks like he's great. So let's add him to the squad. Welcome Darren Copeland to the Pittsburgh Pirates. So we didn't end up getting a competitive bounce pick here. So we are picking now at number 7th in the second round. So looking through the players that are left here, there's definitely some great players. Dominique Vargas, like I said, is available. Except we drafted a right fielder already, so we don't really need him. So we're really down to Tristan Cantrell here, Francisco Arnez, or Jorge Moreno. But like I said earlier in the scouting portion, that Jorge Moreno he's pretty young and he isn't ready by 2024. Francisco Arnez and Cantrell are ready by 23, so I'm just going to have to decide between the two of them. So this is actually a pretty harder choice than I thought. Tristan Cantrell, he's a hard thrower, and his overall is a 65 overall, so he's pretty close actually to becoming a major leaguer. But I'm just going to pick the younger player here, Francisco Arnez. He's 4 years younger, and they're projected the same ETA. So we're going to go with Francisco Arnez, the starting pitcher. So we get a competitive bounce round B pick, and that's right before the third round. So it looks like Cantrell got picked up. I wish he was still available, otherwise I would have picked him, but Jorge Moreno is still here. So Dominique Vargas is still available, and maybe we can end up putting Copeland at left field or something and have Dominique Vargas at right field. Right now our outfielders are absolutely terrible. Our pitching staff is pretty good already, so I think I'm going to go with Dominique Vargas here. So now we're picking just a couple picks later, and Jorge Moreno is still up. So it looks like that first baseman that we liked, I already forgot his name. I think it was like McGovern or something. but the first baseman with a lot of power that we liked is gone. So another thing I'm kind of considering taking a risk on here is drafting JJ Bedelia, this catcher. He's 75 potential. He doesn't have the greatest stats, and his ETA is not for a long time, but he's only 18 years old, and he's the best catcher available, and we don't have many catchers in our system, so maybe just by chance he could actually be good. But I think I'm just going to go with this safe pick here and draft Jorge Moreno. He's a pretty decent pitcher by the looks of it. He won't be available for a long time, but I mean, at these rounds, you can't really complain. Alrighty, so we're in the 4th round now, and there's still some 80 potential overall players here. Let's see if that catcher's still up. And JJ Bedelia is still up, so we could draft him, or we could draft one of these random bullpen arms that have a decent amount of potential. So I was looking at the stats of some of these random 80 overall bullpen arms, and looking at Adrian Silva, this relief pitcher, he throws a 98 mile per hour fastball already. He's only 19 years old, and he looks like he has pretty decent stats. He'll be ready in a couple of years, so I might take the chance on him actually. I think I'm going to draft Adrian Silva here over JJ Bedelia. So we're now in the 5th round already, and looking on the board, JJ Bedelia is still there, so I guess we'll just draft him. Honestly, there's no other choice really. So this is the 6th round and will be our last pick in the draft. There's still an 80 overall potential bullpen arm here, Alvin Lund. He's not gonna be ready for a while, but I mean, he's the only 80 overall potential dude up on the board. So either that, we draft William Ullman here. He's a starting pitcher, 18 years old, or Frank Trout. I guess he's like Mike Trout's adopted little cousin or something. I don't know. So I just found out this dude, Chris Manzanillo. He's a 3rd baseman. He's an 80 overall, even though he has 70 potential. I guarantee you he sucks, but looking at stats, they are insane. So I mean, I don't know, it's worth the pick. It's like the last round. No one is usually good in this round anyway, so we're picking Chris Manzanillo. Alrighty, so that will do it for the draft, and now we'll look at our players and see what their actual overall and potential is. Alrighty, so looking at our draft picks now, the main thing we're going to want to focus on is the potential, and man, did we hit an absolute star here in Darren Copeland. He has 94 potential, so that means he has 8 potential. He's already at 72 overall. So looking at stats, he has great speed, great arm and fielding, and he has good power already. He's only 18 years old, so this is a very good pick. Could potentially be our future franchise player. And looking at our 2nd round pick here, Francisco Arnez, he was a very decent starting pitcher. He has 88 potential, so he's not there yet overall wise, but he's only 18. So looking at Dominic Vargas here, he has 86 potential, so another good 3rd round pick. And looking at stats, he has already great contact. He's already a 69 overall. Maybe this is our future outfield right here. Dominic Vargas, Brian Reynolds, and Darren Copeland. Looking at our 3rd round pick, Jorge Moreno here, he has 91 potential, and that is really good for a 3rd round pick. So we hit on 2 A potential players in Copeland and Jorge Moreno, and he's not that high overall yet. He's only 60 overall, but still a great pick by us in a late round. So looking at Adrian Silva here, that we kind of took a shot in the dark. He had 82 potential, so pretty good pick for us for that late in the round. So he'll definitely be a serviceable relief guy later on. I mean, he's only a 56 overall, so it'll take a while for him to get up to the majors. And looking at JJ Bedelia and Chris Manzanillo, they weren't good picks at all. Only 68 and 63 potential. But looking at Chris Manzanillo, he's already a 73 overall, and he has pretty good stats, so maybe he'll be a very good AAA player for us down in the minors. So to end out the video, I'm going to look at some other teams' prospects here that they drafted, especially our divisional rivals that we might be seeing later on. And I'll also be looking for some of the players that I wanted to draft but weren't available, and to see how they turned out to actually be. So looking at our divisional rivals really quickly here, The Cubs looks like they got a very good closing pitcher here in Billy Jeffers. They also got a pretty decent starting pitcher here, Ronnie Smith. The Reds look like they get a potential starting pitcher in Rafael Morales. He has 91 potential. And they also get another decent pitcher here in Lucius Broadway. And the Brewers, they get the fast center fieldman that we highlighted earlier, Jim Tapia. He has great speed, but looking at his hitting stats, they are awful. And it looks like the Cardinals didn't draft anyone good. Their first round pick was Peter Saunders, and he's only a C potential player. So it looks like the Rockies ended up getting Otis Wood here. He was one of the players I liked a lot, a hometown kid since he was from Pennsylvania. And he was A potential, 94. Something I just realized too, the Cardinals drafted the first baseman that we liked a lot, Randall McGowan here. So that's funny. The Angels ended up drafting Frank Trout, and he looks like he was actually pretty decent, 80 potential, and I guess he'll be paired up with Mike Trout on his team, so that's pretty funny. Wow, so that catcher that I liked a lot going into the draft, Javier Alanes, he was a 99 potential here, so man, he's going to be a good player. He's already a 74 overall. So another player that I liked a lot was Vaughn Williamson, and it looks like the Phillies drafted him, 94 overall potential. And looking at stats, I mean, he's only a 54 overall right now, but it looks like he can become really good. But yeah, that will do it for the video, guys. Thank you so much if you watched through this. I'm super excited about this draft. We landed a lot of good players in this draft. Darren Copeland, which was my favorite player in the whole entire draft, ended up falling to us. But in my next video, I'll get back to simming, and we'll go through the month of June, and also I'll be playing a game. But anyways, if you guys can like this video and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much again for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Peace out.